Hi everyone, enjoying this glorious, beautiful day here in Spain. About to read you excerpts from The Force of One. I think this was like one of my latest short novels, like I wrote quite recently, and have published an Amazon Kindle for everyone to buy around the world, wherever you may be. And it's also an ebook as well as paperback, right? So I'm Irish originally. We love writing and storytelling, don't we? And I have a lot of kind of spiritual wisdom from the therapy work that I do on family constellation work and Akashic constellations. And I guess I was in a moment of transformation in my own life, which brought me to write this short novel, which is basically based on a map, right, which you can see here in the author's copy that's not for resale, of the constellations, which is within the womb, right, the uterus of the female body. Okay, and so the various characters have to navigate through this map, okay, to get out from the other side to go towards that rainbow tree at the end. And they just navigate through different terrains, and they each have their own personal transformational story that unfolds, whereby they themselves have to undergo this important change, right, in their life to become a better person, to learn life's lessons. So again, it's all based on people's past traumas and of course karmas. And I was interested in selecting certain people to be the characters that I'd focus on. So there's a single mom with a kid, there's a young man, an old man. There's because I wanted to focus a little bit more on men as well and give men some attention in my writings, as I'm a female writer. And another woman as well, professionals that have fallen from their professional status towards what would they consider would be falling anyway, towards living a more hippie lifestyle, and the reasons behind all of that, right? Or a young man having hyperactivity and a lot of problems around his ability to concentrate, to focus, to settle down, right, towards becoming more stable and constant. Or the older character that we see is really bitter and has within his self, right, all these old emotions that are stirring up, and he's so angry with life, and he's just so bitter and horrible to everyone, and his life is pure misery, and how he can overcome that and undergo transformation. Of course, the woman that was the single mom and having all her sadness and heartbreak and hurt and loss transforms as well into something that's totally the opposite. And there's a child there as well that also has to undergo his transformations. So really the book is suited for all kinds of readers, but it would be from the ages of 12 upwards at least, or 14, upwards, because the depth of thinking, the maturity, the level of thinking and philosophical messages and moralistic messages are deep. If you really want to enjoy and understand and get to grips with this book. Now it is a short novel, and let's go ahead and read something from the back, let's say. So what is the real point of living at all? Comes up. What is the real objective of every action we do? Where are we heading? Karma is real, and we create it ourselves, and we're stuck in patterns, or we're stuck in situations, repetitive situations, or repetitive emotions that we can't transform. So transformations are necessary at the end. In the end, we have to undergo, right, change. So let's go down this wild journey with a couple of characters I have carefully selected, which are based on, realistic situations that many people can relate to, where we will learn some of life's exciting and most valuable lessons. So it's called The Force of One, as it's all about oneself undergoing that change. It's that strength within, it's that voyage within. So here we go, time to get on that inner path of growth in order to get to our final destination. Where is that anyway, I hear you ask? Of course, we could metamorphise it as a place or a utopia, although that's, on a spiritual level, we are really referring to. So therefore, it can take any form we wish to perceive, be it visible or invisible. It only matters to yourself. You know, it's your own individual journey. So this self-discovery journey is obviously unique and full of ups and downs. We must keep going and can write some songs even about this in the end. So that's a brief introduction there into the book. And then I go through different characters. Okay, and let's see if I can read some excerpts here. For example, there's something powerful, eerie, and curious about being surrounded in a room full of writers' portraits, thought Jangle to himself. But he was loving their inspirational thoughts as he continued typing quickly on his tablet, but it was too slow a pace for all his thoughts to be noted down at once. He had sold a couple of books in the past, yet the market was so competitive recently against a tidal wave of ebooks that he felt it a real struggle to make his living as a writer. Nothing would stop him writing, though, as it's his passion. He had recently retired as an old headmaster. Actually, he had taken early retirement. He had had enough of kids and their problems, quite frankly. Titty-tatty, wah-wah, had all been left behind now. Phew, a huge weight dispelled into the air. So I try to look at, describing things in metamorphical, picturesque ways, referring to dreams as well. Another character is Matteo. Matteo had a strange dream that night, one that he couldn't come out of. He was stranded in a sea of tall green grass. It felt as if he was being strangled and had to free himself from its tangling clasps and wallowing waves. As he pulled through, he huffed and puffed and felt frustrated, trying hard to release himself. He was using all his force to escape each entwinement. He was determined not to give up. The bright rays of the mellow, yellowy sun were blinding his view, yet giving him even more energy to persist. There was no other way out, no one else around, not even a bee buzzing in sight. Just an immense, never-ending sea of grasping grass. It felt despairing. Every time he felt he had released a bit of it, it would creep up again and curl up again around him, be it around his waist, his ankle, his knees, or even his thighs. Ah! He let out a loud roar that silenced the scene and made the grass droop down low and give up its tight grasp on him. He fell on his knees, thanking God, Jesus, and the stars. And then he started to cry incessantly. The cries turned into sobs, mumbling, "I did it. I'm free at last. I'm so sorry." If a passerby was around, nobody would know what he was talking about. Matteo felt he had released built-up emotions and dependencies that were blocking himself from achieving success in his life. Now he felt quite blank and renewed. He had let out in one long sigh as he laid down now and curled up like a furry green mouse in the warm green grassy nest that shone and sparkled in the sweet warm sunlight. The wind blew kisses onto his cheeks and filled him up inside with hope, love, and strength that lifted his body off into a blissful snooze. So it's often after an emotional release as well that people would go and sleep, have a deep sleep or have a nap. Or anyone who's done energetic work as well, energy work, right? Energy healing, you'd find that you need to sleep a lot afterwards so that your brain and your system, your nervous system is reprogramming itself, needing to do so, of course. There are various situations here, that I present in the book that are just beautiful. The full moon was illuminating the entire garden, making stark silhouettes in the backdrop. In front of him, he could make out a beautiful silver angel statue beckoning over a circular fountain, where below ripples glistened harmoniously. The scene was like a mirror. Actually, raindrops are falling out here in the garden. I don't know where they've come from. So I'm just going to pause the video and move a little bit under my roof here. I'll continue.